there is a chance that the Department of Homeland Security attorney will move to dismiss your removal proceedings. Hey guys, so I've been seeing some pretty dramatic changes in the USCIS case processing times for certain benefits. Specifically, what I'm going to talk about today is the adjustment of status application process and people who apply for asylum affirmatively with the USCIS office. So for people who apply for asylum with the USCIS office, which is not people who are actively in removal proceedings and who need to file the asylum application directly with the immigration court, people who file it with the USCIS office are seeing interviews scheduled in just a few months. Notably, we filed a couple of these and the interviews are scheduled within 6 months, which is a little reminiscent of the last time Trump was president, where they wanted to reduce the number of immigrants who become eligible for employment authorization, and they want to speed up the timeline for asylum so that applications that are denied are quickly placed into removal proceedings. That seems pretty on brand with the Trump administration's goal of getting the maximum number of deportation orders possible. What I worry about, specifically in this case, is that you have to generally apply for asylum within your first year of being in the United States. And so if you enter the US and you apply for asylum within the first year, and then let's say you apply after you've been here for 6 months, and then your interview is 5 months later, and the USCIS officer denies the asylum application, which is a very likely outcome. What happens is, so now we are 11 months into your stay in the United States. Your case will then get referred to immigration court, and you'll have a hearing date probably like 3 months later. At that hearing date, you've now been in the US for approximately 1 year and 2 months, something like that. There is a chance that the Department of Homeland Security attorney will move to dismiss your removal proceedings. And now that you're no longer protected by 240 removal proceedings under the Immigration and Nationality Act, ICE officers can just detain you and begin expedited removal proceedings. The chances of ICE officers expeditiously removing you from the United States is heightened within the first 2 years of your entry within the US. They have specific powers that allow them to do that. And they have other powers, and the Trump administration is currently trying to expand those powers because expedited removal is the main tool that they are using to get their deportation numbers as high as possible. The other reason that the Trump administration wants USCIS to make a decision on your asylum application within 180 days is because after 180 days, you'll be eligible for an employment authorization document. But if USCIS makes a decision, then your case gets referred to immigration court. There's a good chance you'll still eventually be able to get an employment authorization document, at least until the Trump administration increases the 180 days like they did last time Trump was president. They increased it to 1 full year of having an asylum application pending before you become eligible for employment authorization. So there's a good chance under current regulations that you'll still be able to get a work permit after your case gets referred to immigration court, but you are now also one step closer to a deportation order or getting your case dismissed in removal proceedings, and then the government beginning expedited removal proceedings. The work permit issue segues us into adjustment of status applications. So applications that I've been filing recently, like I can think of a few that I filed in June that are already scheduled for interviews like 2 months later in middle of August or late August. That is some record time. I mean, there were some cases that we filed when Biden was president that got processed that quickly without an interview, which was amazing. Now, under Trump, I suspect that the real motivation behind accelerating the timeline for these adjustment of status applications is to increase the dragnet of immigrants showing up to interviews so that they can increase the numbers of denials and detentions. Although honestly, I haven't had any clients who showed up to adjustment of status interviews and who've been detained. In fact, I've been to a couple of these interviews and there are not even ICE officers visibly present anywhere in the building. So I think people being afraid of showing up to USCIS interviews is a little overblown unless you have a deportation order or criminal history or some other issue. There was a recent change to the I-130 policy that's going to increase cases getting referred to immigration court, and I'm about to make another video on that, so subscribe if you're interested in learning more about changes to immigration law. I'll try to post that video tomorrow. So yeah, I think the main incentive for accelerating these cases is just to get more people to show up to USCIS interviews, to increase the number of people who get referred to immigration court or who end up ultimately getting a removal order and deported from the United States. First of all, I like that they're accelerating the adjustment of status, because all of my adjustment of status cases tend to be pretty clear-cut, clean cases that are easily approvable. So this is the ultimate outcome of this, is that my clients are getting their green cards much faster. So I'm happy about that. And it's not really a downside, but it could be viewed as a downside, is that when your application gets decided in like 2 months, the government doesn't approve your work permit fast enough. So you just end up wasting that $260 on the work permit application. You never get the work permit. It's basically, once you get your green card, at that point you'll get your social security number. So anyway, it's just some interesting changes that have been taking place. It's not what I expected. I thought that the adjustment of status process was gonna just start dramatically slowing down due to staffing shortages and just everyone's being interviewed now. So I don't exactly understand how they're finding the manpower and resources to do this. Like, something's gotta give. They might be slowing down other processes to make up for this, like naturalization. That's what I suspect. We will see within the next few months or a year as processing times become more clear. One final note on processing times. Ignore your USCIS case portal's estimated processing times. It might say that your application is gonna get decided in the next 4 weeks, but guess what? After those 4 weeks are up, it's just gonna like jump up to 6 to 8 months, and those numbers are meaningless. It has no basis in reality. Whether it says 2 weeks or 6 months, neither of those are true, and if they end up being true, it's purely coincidence. So I've had a lot of people consulting with me and saying things like, within 2 weeks, I'm gonna have this benefit approved, so I just wanna know what's next. And like, I have to stop them right there and say, there's no guarantee that it's gonna be within 2 weeks. In fact, based on my experience, it's gonna be more like this or that. So just don't give any weight to the estimated processing times on the USCIS website. If you need any assistance with any immigration case, whether it's family-based immigration or naturalization, or you're in removal proceedings, you received a notice to appear, and you want to speak to a lawyer to see what your best strategy is, or you just want an attorney to represent you and you want to talk to someone, you could schedule a consultation directly with me. My name is Puyan Darian. I represent clients nationwide, and you can find my consultation information in the video description below. If you guys are interested in learning about all the recent changes to USCIS policies, be sure to subscribe. I'm going to put out a good video tomorrow on a major change to the I-130 policy, so be sure to check that video out. I'll see you guys next time for another one.